what can I get started for you today?
Bananas away, regular?
And I'll have the rip berry, but can I get vanilla oat milk? And I'll add spinach and ginger. And can I substitute the raspberries for strawberries? Also add the chia and hemp seed, and definitely have the power booster and the collagen booster. And can I get that blended twice?
Wow.
For Alicia, custom chaos?
One of a kind.
You're one of a kind.
Booster juice, freshly made, your way.
The rock faces around Lake Tahoe are legendary. But this fall, new ones will emerge in the Tahoe Basin. Pullman, Mowat, Gushu, and more. November 4th through 9th, the Grand Slam of Curling's first ever event in the U.S. is coming to Lake Tahoe, where the greatest rock stars on earth unite for 6 days of incredible curling, celebrity appearances, and après curl parties you won't want to miss. Get your tickets at theGrandSlamOfCurling.com. Let's rock.
Hello and welcome to the Saville Grand Prix at the Saville Center here in Edmonton, Alberta. Round robin action here between two undefeated teams through the first day of action in Team Nancy Martin and Team Kaitlyn Laws. Marty Thompson and Roy McCusker with you on the broadcast. Welcome aboard. Roy will join us in a second. We'll quickly go over these two teams as we see Kaitlyn Laws throwing the red stones. Their lead, Kristen Gordon, delivering her first rocks of the game. Meantime, Team Martin throwing Yellowstones out of Saskatchewan. Christy Gamble is set in the hack here after throwing a guard on her first. As mentioned, these two teams are 2-0 so far. Team Nancy Martin with a 7-2 win over Kaufman and a 6-5 win over Shaslinski yesterday. Meantime, Team Kaitlyn Laws also off to a strong start, a 10-2 win over Jishafart and a 7-2 win over Grey Withers. Bit of a revenge game against Grey Withers as well, having lost to them in the quarterfinals of the Saville Shootout in this very same rink last weekend. See the second stone coming here from Christy Gamble. The sweepers, Kaylin Stewart and Kadriana Lott, indicating it might be a little heavier than initially expected.
Hey, Marty. This is Rory McCusker on the other end. Just fighting with my controls right now. Trying my very hardest to bring curling to the people. But it's tough.
And I can speak on behalf of those who can't speak right now, and thank you for your services. Much appreciated. I'm sure we'll get more into the game as this progresses, but we, again, appreciate bringing this game here in Curling Zone. All the technical help needed. It is quite a feat to bring these games from Edmonton and from elsewhere across the country and across the world.
Yep, so I did a Laws game yesterday. They're looking sharp, throwing well. This Selena Negevin in the house, Kaitlyn Laws throwing last thing is very intriguing. Seems to be working out for them. We were trying to decide whether that was more of a Negevin wanting to skip thing or a Kaitlyn kind of wanting to spend 4 rocks hanging out with the girls at the other end, maybe watch a few from the house and then throw her 2 rocks. So whether it's last thrower preference or Selena, the team's kind of said, hey, Selena, let's see what it's like with you calling the game. Either way, it's been really intriguing to watch.
I'm not sure if we've heard this directly from the team. Maybe we have or not, but at least through a couple of broadcasts I've done and from some other folks I had worked with. The decision came from the team doing a sweeping clinic or summit or what have you, where they were analyzing each other's sweeping abilities, and Kaitlyn Laws is a good sweeper. So it ended up sort of making that switch. And I think that also helps too, Rory, make a good point. Like there's a lot of athletes in the sport, and Kaitlyn is a good example where it's like, yeah, you could totally see her just playing a different role, right? As you say that, yeah, it makes sense for her to go down and be with the girls for the end. But this is sort of the idea and behind it. And obviously Kaitlyn's still throwing last. That also makes sense too, right? She's certainly a clutch thrower in her own right.
Okay, good point. I guess it's all the above.
Yeah, exactly. It could be all the above.
And Kaitlyn being a strong sweeper and the kind of data, the push the science broom, whatever you want to call that thing, confirming that should be a surprise to no one, right? Like all those years with JJ playing like a pure third position, sweeping rocks. She hasn't been a career skip, I think is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, for sure. And, expertise in doubles and what have you, and playing different roles in that discipline. It certainly is no surprise. Jocelyn Peterman throwing here. Redstones again for Team Laws. Looking to capitalize on a couple misses here. They do have the hammer in this first end of play. And looking to just come around that deep corner, and they will. So some early pressure on here for this team out of Manitoba. It's a great overhead view, Rory. You can see it is poking out just a little bit, but it is in a really tough position here for Team Martin.
Looks like Martin starting with hammer. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, my apologies. You're right, Martin. Let's start with hammer. Thank you for the clarification.
Rock counts are very wrong, so that's... No, 3 reds, 3 yellows, yellow throwing. Laws has hammer.
Yeah, Kaitlyn Laws has hammer. She won the draw to the button early on before the broadcast started. So
what do I know?
It's a Saturday morning. We're just seasoned into things, as you mentioned. Kadriana Lott throwing second stones.
A little bit of insider info, this Team Martin. It's a Saturday morning for them as well. I got a message late last night from Christy Gamble. They were at the Morgan Wallen concert at Commonwealth Place in Edmonton, Alberta last night.
Ooh.
A little bit of a late night for the gals.
I'm going to see when Morgan Wallen wrapped that up. That's probably an 11 o'clock or a little later. Glad it worked out for them.
Oh, you gotta go to that concert though. As a Saskatchewanian myself, those guys, they always skip Saskatchewan. You got to go to Alberta to go to concerts anyway. So you're already in town. It's one of the biggest artists in the world right now. You gotta do it. Curling can happen regardless.
All right, according to Setlist FM, Morgan Wallen didn't get off stage last night till 11:20 p.m. So again, it will be a fun night. We'll say that. It'll be a fun night. It looks like
I got a couple blurry selfies from the girls last night. It was great.
Christy Gamble played in the Olympic pre-trials last fall in Guelph, and Taylor Swift was playing a set of concerts in Toronto, her little run there. And I do know of some athletes that made the drive from Guelph into Toronto to go to that concert. Totally worthwhile, of course, if you're one of the bigger artists in the world, and very infrequently are they that far east to go see a show like that. I'd love to talk about Morgan Wallen a little bit more, Rory, but we do have this game going on. Kaitlyn Law is sitting 4, and Nancy Martin really in no other way out other than just to remove some red stones here. So we're now getting to the Vice Rocks with Shaylin Stewart.
Yeah, Shaylin can throw some smoke. They're going to need it this end. I always think let's not call it a hangover game, but like a late night, sort of the game after a late night. You just got to survive those first 2 ends. And they got some work to do in order to survive this first one.
It's going to overcurl slightly. They will come over the top.
A little unlucky they didn't at least get the back double there. It was a well-identified triple, so she gets that a little thinner. 2 rocks are going for sure. Maybe that middle red doesn't go all the way out of the house, but didn't miss it by much.
So now Selena Negevin, as we now see Kaitlyn Law is back in the house here. Negevin throwing vice stones. This in-turn hit looking to hit and roll off that yellow stone. Nice little set there, making sure to bring that back towards the center line. Try to roll right underneath this red and really put the pressure on. Big carve here required from Kristen Gordon. They do get a decent chunk of hits. And carved it maybe a little bit too much, but still some good spacing, as Martin does have a chance to attack and get underneath.
Yeah, a bit of a decision time. Do you make the back double, or do you try and roll under?
We know how Nancy Martin plays.
Yeah,
Certainly
good
quite
point.
aggressive, so I think what we're going to see is that hit and roll underneath. I think if you make it just right, I mean, you're above the tee line, it's still a good spot.
Yeah, you make that double, and it's still a pretty high chance you're giving up 3. So they'll go for the magic bullet, try to get one rock in a really good spot. Hopefully that will nullify all the reds hanging around the house.
Big sweep here from Lott. And
Oh,
how
great roll.
far underneath it will get underneath. It is a great shot, but it is maybe slightly exposed for this team. Or do they decide to come on that side? Yeah, they might just sort of poke it out. That guard is pretty high.
Yeah, but Marty, you know, without hammer, you got a center guard, you always got a shot. So it's no matter how screwed you think you are, as long as you can tuck one, might help save an end.
So final device stones here. Laws and Negative deciding what kind of weight they want to throw. Hack weight is what Laws seems to like. That would be enough to just push that yellow, likely to still be exposed. Okay, they are going to go on that side. That's a good view of it there.
Yeah, let's see how she throws this one.
It might be hack weight with
Delicate
tolerance to heavier too, for sure, just to make sure. The guard is high, and you got some good sweepers here. Jocelyn Peterman, I'm sure, will get set to carve this if they do push it out too far wide. And speaking of which, will they slice it? They do punch it out. How far will it go? Looks like enough to be second, or looks like maybe third shot. So
Yeah,
job well
first,
done.
That's a tough shot in the first end. You know, you're a little inside the draw path, so you don't know if it's going to kind of grab pebble, and you just haven't really mapped the sheet very well yet. So it's a tough shot, a tough one to call the sweep on. I think she gets just enough out of it. Yeah, there's still shot 2. Pretty good result. Almost really good result.
Now coming up to skip stones here. Team Martin under pressure here in the skip Nancy. Assessing her options. Shaylin Stewart, her assistant in the house. That would be my first thought, Rory. I don't know, just get rid of that redstone. You might end up being in a position where you might be second and third, but at least you're splitting your section of the rocks. Or do you take the draw and try to get there first? Looks like Nancy likes the hit.
This is looking more like a draw on top ice to me, isn't it? Or I guess they're right beside the rock.
It looked like they were indicating the hit. I don't know. It looked like they were indicating
Maybe.
it.
Yeah, I just kept seeing her look at the forefront. Maybe she's looking at where she wants to roll. No, I think you're right, Marty.
This veteran skip, 52-year-old, reigning Saskatchewan champion. This team of certainly a young up-and-coming group. She's the veteran. She's brought a lot of experience to the table, and that's been enough to get them over the hump in Saskatchewan. And a women's field that still feels very much wide open. Lots of competition, lots of solid teams, but they were the victors last year and looking to be the victors again this year. First of 2 here from the skipper, throwing inside out, trying to give it here to Kadriana Lott to keep this rock straight. They want to get a good roll. They will hit it on the other side, and they jam their own out. Difficult miss there from Nancy Martin, but Rory, that was always a possibility.
Yeah, I think I may have hit the replay button a little too late here. Let's see if we can get that release. It was just a bit of a shaky throw. You could see her kind of give it a crank with her wrist at the end. Not Nancy's best throw.
Yeah, you could just, it's obviously tough to see when we're not there, but there was just a little flutter. You're right. There was just something you could just sort of see in the wrist. So meantime, Team Laws, what is their best way to attack this? Sitting 3 with a extra rock to throw. Dream start for this team out of Manitoba. So it looks like they're going to go to the wing and give Nancy Martin the draw right down to the button.
Yeah, that's a little wild. letting that honey hole sit wide open. Team Laws doesn't have anything in the forefoot right now, and you gotta know Nancy's coming back button, whether she's going in turn or out turn. Unless there's a way to really realistically cut down Laws to 2, I think we're gonna see a draw to the forefoot no matter what.
Perhaps this Laws team, I mean, Negevin just threw one. Perhaps they feel confident in being able to get to a yellow stone that is partially buried underneath in the forefoot. And this is some really high-risk shot making in anticipation of being able to pick that out on Kaitlyn Laws' last. Yeah, really intriguing slot selection here. First of 2 here from Kaitlyn Laws, drawing out to the wings here and looking to sit 4 going into the last 2 stones at the end. Patient sweeping here. You see Peterman taking the inside. Likely trying to not give a double either or hit and roll over. And looks like they evaded the worst case scenario in that regard.
Yeah. Decently easy double, but you're gonna have to stick out in the wings if you make it. So it's you're handing Laws 3 if you make that double.
Bit of a decision time here too from this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that long hit and roll, it's 5 or 6 feet. It's not very easily makeable. It's a good position for Kaitlyn Laws. You're daring Nancy to draw the forefoot or the button here.
So Shaylin Stewart there indicating a corner freeze on some of those red stones just underneath their feet there. That is another intriguing shot, forcing Laws to make a really precise hit, but looks like the skipper is overriding that and electing to draw right into the forefoot. But as I mentioned there earlier, Rory, this is a hit that Selena Negevin made pretty precisely with that little hack waiter, so the team knows what to throw down this alley. Meantime, Nancy Martin, this will be her first draw of the game. Of course, you do have practice ice, you do have those shots, but she was light on her draw, her last draw there to decide who had hammer, so a bit of pressure on her to make this for sure.
Yeah, just gonna have to strap on the whiskey glasses for this one.
I was wondering if that was going to happen. That's good. I'll bring one later. I appreciate that. I was like, should I do this? And Rory just gave me the expression.
This is permission.
Final stone here from Team Nancy Martin and the skipper attempting to draw into the forefoot against 4. Adriana Lott and Christy Gamble on the sweep here. Got to make sure you beat that one at the top 8. They will. Now the weight doesn't look like it's there. How far can they bring this in? They will just wrap it around.
You know what? They did not get much finish on that side, did they, Marty?
No, the broom was, if I'm not mistaken, just around the edge of the 8-foot, maybe just inside of it, and it did not come back at all.
I thought Selena's hit down this path also kind of hung. So I kind of chalked that up to maybe throwing too much weight. But for a draw weight shot, I know she had lots of rotation. That looked like good line coming into the rings. Just didn't really get that hook at the end. I think she threw it pretty good. I don't think Nancy was the problem there.
Final stone here in this first end. Martin managing to sit 1, but all of the opportunity lies with the skipper here, the 4th rock thrower for Team Laws. As Kaitlyn settles in, a down weight hit, poke that Yellowstone all the way through. And you just see Laws there indicating maybe a little bit less ice. Maybe they're seeing something that we think we see on broadcast. Obviously easier to see when you're there on the sheet itself. Final stone here in the first end. Kaitlyn Laws with a chance to blow this game wide open in the first end. A hit for 5 if she can stick the shooter. Dawson Peterman calls it heavy out of her out of Law's hands. The line looks pretty good here, though, Rory.
Yeah, and you know what? Confirmed. Straight spot confirmed. That was a soft weight hit. They were able to hold that line the whole way down. It's going up, down here, Marty.
Well, on that note, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back for the second end.
Hey, Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting. We'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from Nisku this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatchewan in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbeck coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsoctickets.com. Let's rock.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to Edmonton here, the Saville Grand Prix at the Saville Center. Team Laws with a big 5-spot in the first end here. Marty Thompson and Rory McCusker with you on the broadcast. Christy Gamble throwing lead stones here for Team Martin as they look to generate some offense here in this second end. Got a couple other games here in action at the Saville Center. Full complement of women's teams taking on each other. Unji Gim and Corinne Brown, another two teams in this pool. They're taking on each other on sheet 4. Serena Gray Withers, Amanda Schlitzky as well, two teams that are playing in the same group. Kayla Skrillex, Selena Sturmay also in action. Lots of good curling here in Edmonton for the second weekend running.
Yeah, second weekend running is right. And I actually think they had an event before those two that we weren't producing. Saville Center is definitely the home of competitive curling early season in Western Canada, that's for sure.
Keeping the ice year-round here.
Oh, you know what, Marty? I was corrected. I made that claim last week, and I may have infected you with that disinformation, but I was corrected by a chat participant. They do take the ice out around mid-May and put it back in at the start of August. So a few months off here in Edmonton.
I appreciate that distinction. Edmontonians, they do deserve just a few weeks off curling. Probably like 2 or 3 weeks to take it a little bit more. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll be okay with that.
Summer is very short in Edmonton. You need to be encouraged to go outside and enjoy it.
But it certainly is nice, isn't it? Nancy Martin looking for some offense here. Christy Gamble's going to draw around her corner guard. Team Martin.
So Shaylin Stewart already needs a break.
No. She needs some. She had some help. No, I had some help. I'll come back to that one.
Little sand in her boots. Had to go get it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one.
I am cheating. I've got like Morgan Wallen's discography in front of me on Google, so I can keep showing.
And this is definitely the first time in my commentary career I've pulled up Setlist FM to see for prep. So, and I also have it up here just to see a 9:20 start time last night as well. Now,
you know what? These girls are a party. The more Nancy Martin games you do, the more set lists you'll have up on your Google machine.
So Negevin here electing to go after that yellow stone. Key to, I guess if you tick the guard, it's not the worst. This is a real double shot. I know there's Jocelyn Peterman is Canada's doubles Olympic athlete. You know, if you come in and you tick the guard, it's not the worst, but obviously removing that Yellowstone will be, job's good.
Yeah, Marty, like 5 rock rule, this has made this 5th rock of the end, the seconds first of the team without hammer, really entertaining. Like there's always a bit of a decision to be made. Wow, really getting some good swoop off the wall there. Nice guess from the team. Like I thought that was a lot of ice. They made it work.
That was some real veteran play calling from Negevin as well. As we mentioned, not traditionally a skip and switched into this new role is calling the game, but really good eye to see that one too, we can agree. Because that really changes the complexion here for Team Martin as they're now forced to go back towards the middle here, and Kaitlyn Lott's first to 2.
Yeah, Selena got some skipping experience with Kaitlyn when Kaitlyn had to tap out a few times over the last few years, just with the various sort of life events. And so, like, yeah, she definitely seems comfortable in the rings. And as we know, for most teams anyway, the play calling is kind of a team thing anyway. There's lots of discussion. They'd pre-plan a lot of the first half of the end. So it seems to be working pretty naturally.
So Team Martin with a nice hit and roll, almost got buried behind the corner there with Kaitlyn Lott, but this will be accessible for Jocelyn Peterman.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy kind of game to play when you with hammer with a lead, because even if you tip that guard or wreck that guard, that's a success in itself. So you got the green light to chase these rocks, and as long as you're not going to nose the guard, something good's going to happen for your team.
Kaitlyn Law is putting that sweeping science to the test, comes right around here, and the roll will be minimal, but Kaitlyn Law certainly saved that.
Yeah, that was a good scrub.
So that redstone just on the pin, maybe to the back end of the button. So it looks like Nancy Martin forced to try to make a red wall in behind, punching that redstone back in the 8-foot. Or do that, yeah, come around that corner guard.
Team Nancy Martin looking a little dumbfounded right now. They don't really know where to go or what to do with this. They've got a decent, they've got a corner guard, they've got a rock behind the tee line. Like, there's some stuff to work with here. So it's just a matter of keeping your rocks in front of the opponents. Keeping your rocks in play is the number one. But with 5 rocks to go here with hammer, they can make something happen here. There's a 3 out there. They just got to find it.
Kaitlyn Lott. The reds aren't friendly, but the placement is. So you're right. You can start lodging some Yellowstones in here, and you might have to get a miss or two, but this looks like a pretty nice draw. Comes right to the face of that redstone in a perfect spot. That wasn't a lot of ice on that draw either, and it came in pretty good. Yeah, certainly some straighter ice here in Edmonton.
Yeah, sheet to sheet, hey? So big facility, 10 sheets, and I've been producing sheets that have a lot more swing, or maybe it's kind of a slant, like there's one curly turn. We haven't really seen a super curly turn. I know Jocelyn got a lot of grab out there on the wing. Can't really decide if that's swingy ice or fresh pebble.
Selena Negevin. First of 2 here from the Winnipeg native. Trying to unlock that redstone at the back and unlock the Yellowstone, crucially. And they do just that. Now that roll is not too friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really spoiled for choice here in terms of there's lots of redstones in the house. This really does seem, Rory, where Nancy Martin thrives. Just a little bit of chaos in the 8-foot and the 4-foot, just working on the angles and making, you know, hard shots to the other team by playing just a little aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And so her playing with Steve Laycock in doubles as well, that was, to anyone who knows Saskatchewan curling, that was an obvious one. Those two are both really creative in planning out these ends and trying to create offense when they need to. So definitely a scary skip to go up against Nancy when things get a little messy.
Yeah, creativity is such a must in curling. You know, it can seem so regimented at the high level, but sometimes you just have teams that can approach it in such a refreshing way and get results.
Yeah, these are all compliments to a team that's down 5 after 1.
Of course. Now they end up on the wrong side. It's not a great miss, but it could be worse. There's still some yellow in the house, but that's not the way they wanted to miss that.
Yeah, you know what's huge, Marty, is if they're out counting the red at on the wing there. So if they're out counting that, it can work. If not, I think that rock is lost.
So it looks like Team Laws will go after that little short run tap, remove that Yellowstone. And I think if you get a nice roll too, you might suddenly have, you know, sort of 3 reds and a little triangle shape here in the 8-foot and 4-foot, just to the side of the center line.
Yeah, for Team Laws, you know, you do want to plan where your shooters are going to roll and what you're going to leave the opponent, but, you know, priority 1, let's just keep getting rid of yellow. So as long as they do that, I think they're going to be okay.
Make the hit, they plant it, and the red just trickles by the Yellowstone in question, just biting the back 8.
Yeah, it's a pretty good roll. Would have been really nice to keep 3 reds around, but there's no double there. You know, Team Martin's kind of running out of rocks as well.
Team Martin does have the hammer in the first end after giving up, or in the second end rather, after giving up 5 in the first.
Yeah, little scoreboard issue. See if I can iron that out for the next end.
Shaylin Stewart throwing 3rd for this team. Reigning Saskatchewan champions, as mentioned. Be patient with this redstone. Really want it to come over. I think they're going to get a thinner part than they expected.
Oof. And
not an ideal place as they push that Yellowstone that looked like it maybe wasn't out counting that red. Now it definitely isn't. Red now sitting 3.
Yeah, it's a tough look because even if Martin draws behind that wing, you know, if Kaitlyn bashes it back, it's that pocket of the yellows. I just don't think it's close enough. You're going to be outcounted by a few reds. So this is going to have to be a pure skipper's deuce at this point.
Laws and Negevin again spoiled for choice on their on the last 2 stones for their team. Just trying to figure out what's the best shot for their game plan essentially. And it looks like the call is to come about T-line and kind of just come towards the 8-foot cross center line. And I guess they're going to protect it from being removed because it would just jam on the yellows anyways, but just sort of shrink the potential scoring area, I guess, even further.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little yellow. What are we doing there? There we go.
We can't reuse them, right? I can't say those were whiskey glasses? Okay.
Now, those were whiskey glasses.
Got it.
Those were whiskey glasses. Yeah.
Appreciate everybody watching here this Saturday morning from the Saville Center in Edmonton. Again, both these teams 2-0. Top 8 teams from this event go on to the quarterfinals, which start tomorrow. Kaitlyn Laws looking to draw to the 8-foot here. And again, sit a bundle through skip stones, just like the first end. They chisel off their own red, but certainly job done where they wanted that rock to be.
Yeah, I think they're just really just trying to cut off that path to the wing, and they succeeded in that. It was a good sweep as well. The only thing you can't do is go deep. So they just made sure they weren't deep, and there it is.
Nancy Martin and Shaylin Stewart trying to find the best path towards the skipper's deuce. That seems like that's a good spot. Just trying to get it a little corner buried behind that redstone that was just thrown. But even then, the jam on the yellows don't really work because I don't think you'd be out scoring anybody.
Yeah, not a lot of places to hide here. Team Martin left chasing you.
Could you end up tapping that redstone that was just thrown back a little bit? No, maybe not. Even then, you're not shot.
Yeah, you could give it like a half tap, but the outturn blast will still be there. It's looking pretty ugly. No real way to sugarcoat this one. Rory McCusker, Marty Thompson here with you. Thank you for joining us. About 300 concurrently watching right now. Get a life, people. No, I'm just kidding. Some real high-quality curling on a Saturday morning. The season has begun. Curling Stadium's going to be here with you all winter long. Free curling right to your device, your living room, your computer, your phone. What a time to be alive. So don't just thank us. These sponsors that run ads and support these events and support the teams, can't forget. That's what makes this whole curling world go around. So make sure when you engage with these businesses that you see in the ads on Curling Stadium and who advertise with the players, make sure to mention, hey, I saw you on a curling jersey. You sponsor Team Laws. You sponsor Team Martin. You sponsored the Saville Shootout. That's what keeps these sponsors coming back and lets them know that they're getting something from their investment. So always keep supporting those who support curling.
Well said, Rory. So Nancy Martin chips off that redstone that was just thrown. And now Laws, maybe you just try to hit and roll ever so slightly buried behind that red and force the draw to the 4-foot.
Yeah, it's happy days either way for Team Laws. Most are going to give up here as one if they get rid of this yellow, that is. So it's just, do you want to leave a hit and stick for Nancy, or do you want to make her draw? That's the only thing to consider here.
Final stone here from Kaitlyn Laws, as I desperately try to find a Morgan Wallen pun, but I don't think I will have enough time.
Just shoot from the hip. That's what I've been doing.
No, I don't want to force anything, Rory. I want it to be, believe it or not, with all these stupid puns, I want it to be not forced. Final stone here for the team without hammer in the second end, up 5, and a chance to sit again. Another bundle, outturn. Just mentioning how straight these rocks have been.
Yeah, it was the other side of center line that was really straight. This one still looking pretty straight. Like, that did not get very much just for control weight.
And it rolls a little bit farther than they would have wanted. So the draw is on here anywhere in the 4-foot to escape, giving up another 5 spot. All the pressure on Nancy Martin here. And certainly well played from this team out of Manitoba to put this veteran skip under pressure again. Got to find that draw weight here early on. The reigning Saskatchewan champions. They lost the 1-2 game in that Saskatchewan championship. So Jolene Campbell had to come back in the final to beat her 8-7. All thanks to the work of this very talented skip. A good strategist and certainly a good thrower. Final stone here in the second end. Christy Gamble jumps on it right away. Obviously, weight will be the crucial factor in making this shot. We knew she threw light in the practice, and she threw light previously.
Yeah, this is biting. It's going to take a lot of work to get there.
It really digs in. Can they get at least to the white paint? They will only just, maybe not. Wow. This could be a bundle again for Team Laws.
It's three for sure.
At least three, yeah. It might want to stick to this.
These are ones, Marty, where, you know, if I'm the opposing team, I'm not even looking. I'm just going, okay, three's good enough. All right, we'll go up 8, and I guess we'll have to live with that.
As we do see at least 3 members of Team Martin kicking the rocks back and getting ready to reset here for the third end.
Yeah, you don't get extra points for winning by 1 million.
Ain't that some for Team Martin, for sure.
Out of the way, Selena.
So I couldn't really tell what that other back read. Do you think that one was in as well? Do you think this is a measure for 4 or for 5?
This is a measure for 4.
Okay, so the one at the back wasn't involved.
Or maybe, Marty, maybe. They may have just kicked it really early. We'll stick around. We'll see.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we're here. We're here. I'm a little crazy. I like watching this stuff. So.
They're pointing to yellow. Yeah, I believe it's 3. Ain't that some?
We'll be right back from Edmonton after these messages.
That's life. That's what all the people say.
Hey guys, what can I get started for you today?
Bananas away, regular?
And I'll have the rip berry, but can I get vanilla oat milk and I'll add spinach and ginger? And can I substitute the raspberries for strawberries? Also add the chia and hemp seed, and definitely have the power booster and the collagen booster. And can I get that blended twice?
Wow.
For Alicia, custom chaos?
One of a kind.
You're one of a kind.
Twister juice, freshly made your way.
Must.
Hello and welcome back to the Saville Grand Prix at the Saville Centre here in Edmonton, Alberta. Round robin action between Team Nancy Martin and Team Kaitlyn Laws. Another big score here for Team Laws. So we're now in the third end. Team Martin does retain hammer, and they are going again for that corner guard in an attempt to generate some offense here early on. Marty Thompson and Rory McCusker with you here on the broadcast.
Yeah, it was a count of 3. We just saw them hang the score. But that didn't stop Team Laws from spinning you around the rings and using the measuring stick and trying to score some extra points.
There you go. That's a good one. See, that's a natural one. Like, that's good. Like, you know, it didn't feel forced. I'm looking at some of these being like, how on earth am I going to do that? So,
it's sometimes you don't want to be forced, much like Nancy Martin in the second end, but you don't have much of a choice. You got to throw that draw anyway.
Selena Negevin, as mentioned, calling the game for Team Laws. A recent sort of change in this lineup, if that's what you want to call it. And this is a team that's looking for a lot of success coming right to the end of this quadrennial. You mentioned some of the family stuff, lots of pregnancies within this group, and really has been a sort of a stop-start process with this group, but lots to play for this year with the trials coming up.
Yeah, it's a team that's kind of like, they fluttered between Tier 1 and Tier 2 at the slams and stuff, lost some points over certain periods of the seasons, but these are very experienced players. And, Kaitlyn herself, an Olympian, the motivation's there to compete at the trials this year. Jocelyn, very involved in a lot of curling education and, rink rat kind of status for quite a few years. Kristen Gordon and Selena Negevin have played together for a long time. And what I'm getting at here is this is a dangerous team. And, even though they haven't been in the conversation of like the super elite in Canada, like not at the same tier as maybe like Holman or Anerson over the last few years, this is a team with that potential. And, a team that could make some noise come trials time. So definitely a team to have your eye on this season. They look sharp early.
Yeah, you make great points about just this entire lineup. Like Negevin is Scotty's former All-Star, I think second team All-Star. Obviously, Laws speaks for herself. This is just a team, every big event going in, Scotty's or otherwise, I always just think, man, this could be, they're always sort of a, not quite a dark horse per se, but I always think that they've always just been underrated as a squad. Like there's a breakout coming, just based off the talent we see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think their problem in the past has been more best on best. Like they really don't have an issue kind of beating teams that are ranked lower than them. It's just playing that top 10 has kind of been a bit of a challenge for them. So this upcoming slam season's a big one for them. And yeah, I'm excited to see how they handle it and how they spar with the world's best and Canada's best.
Starting in Tier 2 in the London Slam later this month. They're semifinalists last year, I think, at the Tour Challenge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they'll be looking to climb those rankings pretty quick. I think they have the tools to do so.
Certainly with Kaitlyn Laws on the brush there, bringing that rock into the rings. So Nancy Martin skipping this team here out of Saskatchewan, looking to hit that rock in the top 12 and roll buried under the corner. They do have two corner guards. Adriana Lott, her first of two here, throwing second stones. Just really watching these rocks. They're just not coming in the way that these teams really have been expecting. As you see, that got a pretty slim chunk of that red stone.
Yeah, that one had pretty soft weight and was able to kind of swoop in at the end. But doing these tournaments from the Saville, I have noticed anything with much more than hack weight kind of hangs. And it's different because the curlers, the ice making trend right now is to have lots of bite, like even with weight, like just curl, curl, curl. And this Saville Center ice, like, yeah, once you get above hack weight, seems to glide a little bit more. So it's interesting ice characteristics, definitely.
Yeah, you saw Nancy there just really hedging on calling the carve, just expecting it to come, and it just never did. But you can just sort of see those instincts at play from a skip, expecting that bite.
Yeah, it's a good point as well about the carve sweep, which curlers have, it's become the more important sweep. Like we had like 100 years or more of straight sweeping being, the thought when you think of sweeping a rock. But Now these competitive curlers especially are throwing to anticipate extra curl coming from the carve. And on the Saville Center ice, it's just not quite giving them that.
Kadriana Lott. Chance to make her second shot here a little bit better. A wrap on this guard, and they do instead wreck. Now, this will come in front of that red stone. Not the worst miss in the world, but another tough break here for Team Martin.
It's a tough one because you finally had a good little situation going. Really only one red rock in the middle of the house. You had your two corner guards, you know, kind of a free draw to bury one. And we were just talking about how the software hits weren't curling, so it's difficult to chase. That would have been a really nice one to get around the guard.
Selena Negavan handing this rock off to Kristen Gordon, who will sweep it right into the yellow, and a well-executed shot to miss that rock on the forefoot. Well, Rory, what I want, pause for effect.
What do you want, Marty?
Pause for effect, is a decent game. As we now have a chance here for Nancy Martin to come around, a little hit and roll maybe to get under cover, as I desperately try to pull out more Morgan Wallen references, but I feel like Rory's beating me by.
No, you're overthinking it, man. You're overthinking it. Just carpet bomb them out there.
Just start reading them.
Yeah, some of them will stick eventually. Not the biggest Morgan Wallen fan, but especially out west here, he's a huge artist.
Yeah. I'm predisposed to like country for sure, and Morgan Wallen is someone that I certainly enjoy. But Alan Jackson, Morgan Wallen, same diff for me. Same diff. So chance for the hit and roll here. Lott trying to get a good chunk of the red, and they do, but it just is just one of those days here for team. Well, that's a Limp Bizkit reference, but just one of those days for team Martin, as they just don't get the roll they wanted. Just the amount of red granite we've seen in the house through Vice and Skip Stones has just been, yeah, truly insurmountable for Nancy Martin coming in. Like, you just sort of see, especially the spacing on them. It's not like there's been some red stones in the key and the top of the house. They've just been in really awkward positions, awkward places. If you do have a corner guard, they almost don't help you. And I think this, especially where this red rock ends up, probably just behind the corner. Yeah, I mean, that might be a little helpful, but even then, it's been tough sledding here for the Saskatchewan Skip.
Yeah, you got 3 rocks left here. I think you just got to bury them no matter what. So she wants to deal with this one in the forefoot. I think maybe it's just time to start loading the rings and seeing if you can make a round-the-house triple on your last one. You're down 8. Why not?
Looking at some other games on the ice here at the Saville Center. Lindsay Gim up 3 against Corinne Brown, stole 2 in the second. Serena Gray Withers up 2 as well against Amanda Soslinski. Selena Sturmey up 4-1 on Kayla Skrlik, taking a 4 spot in the second. Lots of scoring this morning. Another game to update you on. Looks like Kate Cameron is up 2-1 over Mila Plett. As mentioned, the top 8 teams will qualify for the quarterfinals. That all gets started tomorrow. Next draw on the ice here. Women's side will be 2 o'clock local time.
Look at this little hit and flop. Not too bad.
It's poking out a little bit here for Team Laws as we approach the 4th throwers, Stones. But you're right, Stewart with a nice little rip there.
Just needed about 4 more inches to really get that in a nice spot. You can see a thick half right now. So tough hit and roll. When you're coming across the face of those rocks, they're tough to sweep and kind of tough to gauge. So did about as much as she could there.
And also coming inside out, I'd be curious to see how much curl they're going to get, considering we've seen just a little bit straighter going outside in. Should be able to see this pretty comfortably from the hack, though. As mentioned, Team Laws off to a really strong start so far this event. Big wins as well, 10-2, 7-2 over Selena Gray Withers as well. Bit of a revenge game against that team as Selena Gray Withers took down Laws in the quarterfinals at the Saville shootout last weekend. They'll wrap up the group stage at 2 o'clock local time, as mentioned, against the Korean side, Eunji Kim.
I think that's another team to have your eye on early season. Serena Gray Withers. That's it's always good when it's always entertaining when the U of A team kind of graduates into, like, you know, a real team. Yeah. When they kind of shake that U of A jacket and they really start improving against their opponents. That's what I'm seeing out of Serena Gray Withers and her team.
Had a great run last weekend. As mentioned, took down Laws pretty comfortably in that quarterfinal, and then took on that Korean team in Eunji Kim in the semis, and certainly gave them a run. Lots of potential in that squad. Mila Plett is another quite young team that has quite a bit of growing to do, but is certainly all the potential in the world to be one of the country's best teams eventually.
Yeah, I'm the kind of head production guy for the Alberta provincials, both men's and women's. And yeah, the Plett team gave some really good games to some really good teams. That's a team I got my eye on as well, especially Alyssa Nedwin at third. I just love the way she throws. Really pure, and she's got her dad's laser eyes. It's genetic. The focus, you can just feel it beaming across the sheet.
So Nancy Martin here trying to lob a yellow stone in.
This one started curling really quick. Like it was coming back towards the center line less than 10 feet after she threw it. Something happened to that. I do not think Nancy missed that bad. I think that grabbed something right out of her hand.
Yeah, missed that red stone by quite a margin, didn't it? Wow. So Laws, I think, sitting 4 and 5 just about every time coming up to the last stones here. Now, it looks like they want to try to put that rock in the top 12 to make a hard double, I guess, or try to have to make them draw around. Yeah, I guess they wouldn't be able to double, just have to draw around right to the side of the button. It's a little precise, but if you put it in the right spot, Nancy Martin will have almost nothing to shoot at, to be honest.
Yep, another very tough looking house for Team Martin. And you know what? It's not like they're missing super bad. It's just at this point, your shots are so much tougher than the Team Laws. All Team Laws has to do is really chase yellow stones, and even if they rip a guard, that's fine. Team Martin has to go to the tough spots. They can't tick guards. Their depth has to be perfect. It's just one of those things where you're up against it. And playing a really good team to boot, so.
Yeah, and a team that clearly is at a top level right now. They're certainly playing right up to their full potential, especially early on in the season, which is good to see. So they're hoping this runs just to about top 12. I think if they end up exactly, yeah, that's a good spot. Okay, so again, the pressure on Nancy Martin, and maybe a little bit of a smile there from behind the house as she digs in for yet another difficult draw.
Yeehaw! Long live Cowgirls.
There it is. Yeah, that's a good one. I was trying to figure that one out. That's great. That's great. We will mention too, Nancy Martin back in action also at 2 o'clock local time. They're taking on Corinne Brown. That'll be the end of round robin play for this draw, or for these groups of players, I should say. Quarterfinals get started tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock local. final is slated for, if I'm not mistaken, Rory, maybe about 5 o'clock local time?
I'll have to check. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by the celebrity spottings behind the glass here. I think we got, is it Laura Walker sitting with Marcel Rock?
Yep, that would be correct, yeah. Marcel Rock
Yes.
coaching Team Laws. So final stone here in the third. Nancy Martin trying to put this yellow stone right on the side of the button, navigating difficult port considering where that red stone is, right sitting top 4. And even to chisel off, this might be a win for this team. That's exactly what happens. They give up a single here, make it 9-0 now heading into the 4th end.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
The rock faces around Lake Tahoe are legendary. But this fall, new ones will emerge in the Tahoe Basin. Pullman, Moe, Gushu, and more. November 4th through 9th, the Grand Slam of Curling's first ever event in the U.S. is coming to Lake Tahoe, where the greatest rock stars on earth unite for 6 days of incredible curling, celebrity appearances, and après curl parties you won't want to miss. Get your tickets at theGrandSlamOfCurling.com. Let's rock.
Welcome back to Edmonton here in the Saville Grand Prix, Saville Center. Round robin action between Team Nancy Martin and Team Kaitlyn Laws. It is now 9-0 going into the 4th end. Team Laws with the substantial advantage. See Kristen Gordon electing for the short guard, and she'll put that pretty tight to the rings.
Yeah, my scoreboard hasn't updated yet. It is 9-0. You got to think this is going to be the last drive down Main for Team Nancy Martin.
Yeah, well, certainly. But just a chance to recalibrate. We mentioned they had some fun last night. They didn't need to have any help. I can't get that one. I can't get that one. Dang. I'll get it. Well, it's tough where I'm looking at some of these and they're from the first person. So how?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was taught in broadcasting school not to make it about yourself, even though clearly I am. Christy Gamble here throwing lead stones. Recent addition at lead here, the Regina, Saskatchewan native.
Yeah, Christy was messaging me last night, sending some blurry selfies from the concert. She knows I always have fun when I hang out with Christy. She helps organize the Saskatchewan curling tour on the women's side, so I volunteer my time with that as well. She's done it for many years. Just a curling lover. She's either teaching youth or playing herself or helping out around the rinks or with the events. Christy's a great curler and great competitor.
Grateful to play her here in Ontario in the Olympic pre-trials. It was a fun game. Yeah, very nice. As we see Kaitlyn Laws joining the fray a little late here to add a couple strokes. They clear their guard out of play. And another corner here going for Nancy Martin. I mentioned this team is 2-0 so far. You know, Rory, it's one of those things where if a team is really struggling, it's a chance to sort of read the ice and get recalibrated. But at the end of the day, this team was undefeated going into this game. They have been playing well. Just really hasn't been their game.
Yeah, nothing a good brunch and hotel nap, maybe a hot tub can't fix.
And they've got some time before their next game too, here in Edmonton. This one will sail a little deeper towards the rings. Of course, lots of other great curling here on the Curling Zone Network, so to speak, Curling Stadium.
Oh, absolutely.
The ATP Okotoks, the men's side, Jacobs Carruthers, McEwen Kleider. That's a all Saskatchewan battle. Lots of good games last night. More to come today.
I usually give a tech tip every time I commentate. So here's my tech tip of the day. This one might be a little simple, but some people need to hear it. You can have multiple windows open on your web browser. You can open multiple YouTube games. You can arrange them on your screen the way that you want to. So you can watch multiple curling games at once. I know some people just like to watch one, but if you think you have it in you to watch two, that's definitely possible. So all you do is open a new tab, go to Curling Zone, and then you can click and drag that browser window anywhere on your screen. It'll kind of magnet snap to one half or the other. You can also, in your display settings, set your computer to display two screens. So you can project on your TV and have one going on a smaller screen as well. So it is possible, people, to watch multiple curling games at once.
We appreciate the tech tip. Thanks, Rory.
I'm teaching grandmas how to watch curling one game at a time, and it's the tech literacy of grandmas in Canada right now because of Curling Stadium is at an all-time high.
Always, and it's increasing. It's going up.
Getting those numbers up.
Those grandmas said, "I had some help getting curling on my TV." There it is. All right, we got it. We got it. There we go. I just had to change perspectives in the sentence. It got a little too complicated.
No, I didn't realize it, but you're right. All his songs are from the first person. He's always singing about himself and what he sees in his. I didn't even think about that, but you're totally right.
Yeah, it's hard to put into a broadcast, believe it or not. For some, for you, it's easy, but for others, a little more difficult.
Yeah, it's 9-0, Marty. The bar is really low right now.
We appreciate everybody sticking out here. Fans of Team Laws and Team Martin. You see Dawson Peterman ripping that guard. Just nearly hit their own red there in the top 8.
She has been the peel queen these last 2 games. The Laws has enjoyed a lead the last 2 games that I've been producing. And yeah, she's been chucking bombs. She hasn't missed a peel yet. Looking really solid in the second position.
Her second colleague, so to speak, on the other team here, Kadriana Lott. Gimli, Manitoba native. Back-to-back doubles champion with her partner, Colton. They certainly got their corners here. Team Martin looking to cover up that rock at the back 8. Do a quick little update on the games from the Grand Prix here currently. It does look like this game will be over here shortly, so you may want to switch to any of these other offerings here from Curling Zone, Curling Stadium.
Yeah, I'm told by the big man, Jerry Gertz, that we'll be sending viewers from this game, if it ends early, to the Sturmey-Skurlik game. That'll be a potential Alberta provincial final preview. Those 2 teams, how do I say this? Like, I don't think they dislike each other, but they play each other a lot, and it is fierce every time. I've seen a lot of showdowns between those 2 teams, and it's always a good one.
Well, I'm glad we're switching to that game because it looks like it's going to be a bit of a barn burner here. Selena Sturmey, as we mentioned earlier, took a 4 spot, but Skurlik bounced back with 2, so it's 4-3 here. Sturmey does have the hammer in the 4th and the lead.
Yeah, it was one of the most aggressive 10-end games I've ever seen played. I think it was 2 years ago, the Alberta final between those 2 teams. Ended up going to an extra end. Sturmey won in an extra end. A controversial decision to draw instead of hit from Skurlik if she makes contact with the stone. Oh no, here's what it was. She missed a draw against 2 in the 10th to give Sturmey the victory. It was a extremely crazy moment. So the games between those two ever since then have been steeped.
Yeah, so healthy to have two young teams that are very comparable in the province of Alberta, really pushing each other to get better. Yeah, certainly a healthy situation for the women's game in that province.
Yeah, for sure. And then the younger teams coming up, the U of A teams kind of graduating college and continuing to play. Yeah, women's in Alberta should be quite exciting for a few years here.
So removing lots of granite here from Team Laws. Finally, some yellow stones out counting red. Might be the first time in the whole game, to be honest, here for Team Nancy Martin, as the skipper looks to try to find the best way around this guard.
Yeah, an opportunity to lie to for the first time this game, Marty. It's been a while. It's been a long climb.
It certainly has. It certainly has. You're bang on though, Rory. You know, it's there certainly have been misses here from this Martin team, but a little bit of bad breaks to a little bit of luck, you know, and certainly a couple half misses. But I just think of, you know, even Nancy Martin having that rock pick or that rock just sort of sail right through the house there last end. There's been a fair few unlucky instances with this squad, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, you give up 5 in the first end. Like, what do you say after that? That's your shots are going to be excessively difficult for the rest of the game. You might be thinking to yourself, I deserve a drink.
Of course, that measure can nearly been 4-2 in the following end. So,
all right, buried. You know, not ideal depth, but it's back there. It's behind the guard. I'd say that's good enough.
Laws eyeing it up just to come right to it, maybe.
Yeah, I'm seeing this more and more from top teams that play a lot, travel a lot, more so teams that have like pretty high goals. Is, yeah, I mean, you're up 9. The book would say, like, if this is a game for $1 million, you're peeling a guard or you're hitting an open one all day. But you're trying to get better and better throughout the season, and you're trying to hold yourself to a high level of shot making. So sometimes it is beneficial to keep yourself in that high competitive, high achievement mindset and just make the best shot, which is a freeze to that back one. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see that bleed through. Like teams know that they are going to be playing games this year where the margins are razor thin and they're going to have to just make every shot. So why not practice that kind of thing? You don't learn a lot just by beating up on opponents and peeling rocks out for 5 ends in a row. Sometimes you do have to hold yourself to, okay, let's pretend it's tied right now. What would we do? And make that shot.
And I think this conversation is just adds to your point too, right? Playing a little bit at the intensity and trying to really talk it through despite the score. Again, up 9-0. Certainly playing quite well. Undefeated so far in the event. One of the favorites for sure. Kaitlyn Laws and Selena Negevin in the house. Kristen Gordon and Jocelyn Peterman there, as we can see, discussing from about the halfway mark.
Yeah, like, I'm wondering what they're seeing on this outside one. Like, really just hit and roll for shot, I think, is the only thing you can do. Here's the thing about hitting this one, though, Marty. Martin's looping one in behind the guard again, and then you're looking at 2 buried.
Yeah, certainly.
I can see why they don't love the peel. I mean, there is no double. You're just going to look at 3 rocks in the rings anyway if you peel. So I understand that they're not looking at that.
So playing a little bit to their strong suits so far. Kaitlyn Laws has been throwing her hits really well. This team just on the whole has reading the ice well for it. So removing that yellow stone off towards the wings there at the back. I'm going to help this over here. Or my apologies, keep it straight. And they do get a decent chunk of it. And the roll is pretty good to sit shot stone.
That's a nice shot. there's only about 1.5 feet of room that you can roll where you're still going to stay shot, and they found it.
Yeah, I think in terms of how they've thrown their hits so far, Rory, this Manitoba team across the board has been near perfect. Haven't made many wrong moves in that regard. So, Team Nancy Martin and the skipper here trying to salvage something from this game that certainly has not gone their way thus far. A little bit of momentum going into their 2 o'clock game, perhaps. Before they hit the hot tub, as you mentioned.
Yeah, brunch, hot tub, nap. That's the triple threat cure for Morgan Wallen late night.
Gamble trying to keep this rock straight and actually trying to maybe add some weight to it as well. This looks like this one might be just a smidge light. Can they help it into the rings? They can't. So that is a simple 3 guard. And now all of a sudden Team Law is sitting 1 with a chance to sit 2 and put another force on.
I wonder if Nancy's got mismatched stones. And the reason I say that is, we saw a draw missed light. We also saw a rock kind of pick right out of her hand. I just wonder if she's not exactly sure how hard she's got to throw these things right now.
It's tough just because I know her tolerance has been light the whole game. You're probably right, but also just, it's not like she's been sailing one through and then, has been light on another. But yeah, I see what you mean. Certainly it seems like a failure to make an adjustment, obviously, at this level. Surely you're looking towards other conditions, and a rock would certainly make sense.
Man, I go back to the first end where Nancy had that draw to kind of save the end. Kaitlyn ended up hitting it and counting 5. I thought Nancy threw that draw quite well. I didn't think it really got the finish that it may have deserved. Maybe she was a little light and needed a couple more feet to get around that red one. But let's say she makes that shot, Marty, and she steals one or forces Kaitlyn one. We're looking at a totally different game.
Final stone here for Kaitlyn Laws. Chance to sit 2. Kristen Gordon really helping this rock over right up on her tippy toes. Maybe also looking to maybe take some weight off by carving it, and this one will actually come all the way through. So a chance for a 2 spot here for Nancy Martin as a rare miss here from Kaitlyn Laws. You're right, just a little heavy, and I think maybe Gordon was just trying to keep that over just to see if she could take some weight off of it, maybe even touch that yellow, but had a long way to go.
I get uncomfortable thinking about a carve sweep slowing a rock down. If that's what they're doing, that needs to be banished. What can you do?
Well, and at this point, if you're just gonna, if it's gonna go through the house, you're just gonna have to do something. So if it works, it works. It works. It doesn't. It doesn't. But I know. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
No, you got to play to win the game, though. It's understandable. It's just a weird thing to think about. Curling is moving so fast. Like every year we learn something new.
Yep. Okay, final stone here for Nancy Martin in the 4th down 9. Needs to hit and stick to get a deuce. Move the red stone to at least score 1. Gamble keeping that rock out pretty early on. The line looks pretty good. Pretty dead close to the nose, and they will be there. It sticks around for 2 as Team Nancy Martin is on the board, but they will still wrap up the game here in Edmonton. Final score 9-2. Kaitlyn Laws takes the win. Rory, your final thoughts here from Edmonton here in this round robin game?
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it before Kaitlyn's last shot there. I mean, Nancy makes her draw to hold Kaitlyn 1 in the first end. We got a different game, but instead gives up 5 and night. There it is. That's the game right there. So pretty tough shots, and both these teams will reload and look forward to their next game.
Speaking of which, we will switch, and if that's changed, Rory, let me know. We will switch to the Skrillik and Sturmay game here on this feed. That's going into the 5th end with Selena Sturmay retaining the hammer. So for myself and Rory and everyone else here at Curling Stadium, thank you so much for tuning in. And be sure to check out other games here, not only in Edmonton, but elsewhere across the Curling Stadium network.
Live curling rocks. And this November, the best in the world are coming to Tahoe. Get your seats now at gsoctickets.com. But hurry, early bird pricing ends soon.